What's going on YouTube? It's your boy, man. Back at it again with another video on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. And in today's video, we're finna take a nice little look at the city of Chicago, my hometown, and what it has to offer from the air. I hope you sit back and relax and enjoy the video. And we're finna see everything that this city has to offer in all its glory. So right now we're leaving out of O'Hare International Airport. One of the world's biggest, if not the biggest airport in the world. Right on the outskirts of Chicago. As we start to get a little lift real quick. As you can see off to the distance right there, we have the city of Chicago. To our east, let's go ahead and get a nice little cockpit view of this real quick. Leaving out of O'Hare, super big airport. One of the biggest airports in the world, and also one of the busiest airports in the world too as well. Now, one thing about O'Hare, O'Hare sits on the outskirts of the city to the west. Now, Chicago does have an airport that is within the city limits. That is Midway. And we will pass by that as we're flying. But as you can see, downtown Chicago, out there into the distance. Right now, we are not in the city limits. Right now, we are in the Chicagoland area. Now, I want to make this into a series of going around looking at different cities, different places and stuff like that. Please excuse me when it comes to future videos. Best believe I would not know everything that every city has to offer, but I will try my best though. Right now we have everything on live weather, live time. So right now this video is being recorded at 9:30 in the morning. And this is what it looks like right now in the city of Chicago. Me personally, I live on the southeast side of Chicago. I'll give y'all a rough general idea of where that is once we get to that location. But for right now, we're gonna be making our way closer to downtown Chicago. Now, the reason why I chose this airplane, one, it's easy to fly. When I play this game as a hobby, for fun. I use a controller, but I do play on my PC. Right now, we have everything on max graphics at 1440p. So hopefully the visuals are to y'all likings. This little area right here that we're in right now, leaving right out of O'Hare, is the Rosemont area. I've been here plenty of times to a lot of clubs. If anybody that's from the Chicagoland area knows about the Rosemont area, shout out to Adobe's. Now, once we get to downtown Chicago, we will be looking at some key points of the city, what it has to offer. Of course, there's buildings, skyscrapers, all that galore, but also we have sports teams, stadiums, museums, parks, everything that makes a great city like Chicago so great. You have Lincolnwood off to the distance. Niles Township off to the distance. Niles and Park Ridge. Behind us we have Rosemont. As I said, Rosemont is right out of the O'Hare. Well, it's in O'Hare, I should say. Inwood Park as we're slowly making our way to the city limits. Now, one thing about this series that I find interesting and that I really wanted to do is go to a lot of places that I haven't been to in real life. Learn, explore, see what it has to offer. Really haven't seen a lot of videos like this on YouTube. If there is, you know, you can nicely point them out to me in the comment section. But one thing that makes Microsoft Flight Simulator not just 2024, but also 2020, because this is the second iteration of Microsoft Flight Simulator in the last decade, is that it is a 1-to-1 ratio of the whole entire world. So if you can go there in real life, you can see it in the game. And that's what makes this simulator so incredible. As you see some planes coming in, you can see O'Hare International Airport off into the distance. Massive airport. Very big footprint in the Chicagoland area. As now we are coming into the city limits of Chicago, Illinois. Right here you have 94. This right here turns into the loop. 94, 294. '94 turns into 41 going north to the suburbs towards the Wisconsin border. Been on that stretch of freeway plenty of times in my life. So as we slow it down just a little bit, we got our first landmark to look at real quick, and that is Wrigleyville. Yes, indeed, Wrigleyville, where the Chicago Cubs play, 2016 World Champs. Let's get a nice little look at Wrigleyville real quick. Right off of Addison Street in the north side of Chicago. Nice little ways from downtown. Nice area, nice community. A lot of bars if you like to club hop. See if we can get a little lower real quick and check this bad boy out. Do a little flyby. And there you have it, Wrigleyville. Go and get an inside look at Wrigleyville. Wedged in into a nice little community. Very expensive community. Best believe, very expensive, but very nice community here on the north side. You got the L train down there too as well as we loop around. See downtown Chicago off into the distance. Wrigleyville in all its glory. Don't that looks good right there? All right. As we make ourselves closer towards downtown. Still on the city's north side. I can see off into the distance some famous buildings: Sears Tower, John Hancock, Trump. Now, one thing about this version of Microsoft Flight Simulator, they do not have all the current buildings that are downtown Chicago. If I'm not mistaken, they're missing about one or two that was built within the last 6 or 7 years. They are not part of the city skyline in this build of Microsoft Flight Simulator, but yet you'll still get a nice good look of what downtown Chicago has to offer as we fly by. You can see my co-pilot loves what she's seeing as she's looking out that window. Can we open this? Oh, wow. Interesting. All right. So right here we have the lakefront, Lakeshore Drive. One thing I love about Chicago is it's a lot of parks in the city. A lot of things to do here in the summertime. If you ever had the chance or the opportunity to come to Chicago in the summertime, oh my gosh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. As you can see, the one tall building that's right in front of us where our cursor is right now, that is the John Hancock building. Built in 1969, I believe. This building stood as one of the tallest buildings in the world for a couple years before they built the World Trade Centers in 1973 and then built the Sears Tower in 1974. 100 stories. Very famous building right there. Set for not only the tallest building in Chicago for a couple years, but set the second tallest building of Chicago for many decades until they built the Trump building, which we're about to see right now in 2009. This right here is 1 point. This is the only building that sits east of the Lakeshore Drive before they pass a law in the city limits where no building will be built on the eastern side of Lakeshore Drive. Now, as I said, we are missing a couple of buildings that are supposed to be right here, but we will go down the Chicago River and take a look at the Trump building as you see right in front of us. The Trump building built in 2009. It serves for two purposes, residential and also hotel. I believe the Trump building is 102 stories. I'm pretty much going off the top of my head with everything. But this right here is the second tallest building in the city of Chicago. And it has been the second tallest building ever since it's being built back in 2009. So that right there is the Trump building. We're going to get a look at another building before we go to probably one of the most famous buildings in the city, as you can see off to the distance. But another building that we got to give a shout out to is the Aeron building. This building was built back in the 1970s. I don't know the exact date. But this building right here was built, I believe, a oil company from Indiana, I want to say, constructed this building. This building right here shares a lot of similarities to the World Trade Centers, but I don't think that the same architects that built the World Trade Center had anything to do with this building. But this building right here is set as one of the taller buildings in the city and still is one of the taller buildings in the city of Chicago still to this day. One thing that's interesting about this building, though, as we take a look at it, is the building at first was made with its outside structure with all marble. But slowly after construction, they had to change it out with marble. And I forgot the material that they changed it to because the marble was starting to get brittle. So now the building is no longer made with the outside structure with marble. But when they first made this building, the outside structure was made out of all marble. As you can see down here, we have Millennium and also Grant Park. Also, let's take a quick little look at Navy Pier. I'm sure a lot of people outside of Chicago knows and heard a lot about Navy Pier. Let's take a nice little look at this. But this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is Navy Pier. See the Ferris wheel, the whole boardwalk. Now, me personally, for me being a Chicagoland resident, I've probably only been to Navy Pier probably twice in my whole life. Yes, I know. It's bad, ain't it? People that visit the city has been to Navy Pier more than me being living here actually been to the city. But that is Navy Pier right there. As we get a beautiful look at the city skyline. Oh my gosh. How can you not love the city of Chicago? Beautiful. As we whip it back around, start heading back west again, and take another quick look at Grant Park. Grant Park, where they host the Jazz Festival, Lollapalooza, and other events during the summertime of Chicago. Taste of Chicago, all of that. It's all hosted here in Grant Park. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Also, we're one of the tallest buildings in the world. It was supposed to be built, but the 2008 depression, or recession I should say, put that plan to an end, but you still see the hole right there. There's a lot of videos on YouTube talking about that hole right there, where that right there supposed to be the world's tallest building. As we take a look at Millennium Park and Grant Park, you have the famous beam over there to our right. Get a nice little quick little look at that. A lot of people has been to the beam. Right here we have Michigan Avenue. Off there to the distance, we have the fountain. Very famous park, very famous park. As we swing back around and get a nice glander at, yes, the Sears Tower, or should I say the Willis Tower. This right here was constructed and built and complete in 1974. Stood as the world's tallest building until 1998. And it is still one of the tallest buildings in the United States. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's the second or the third tallest building in the United States, still to this day. Obviously, with it being called the Sears Tower, at one time it was owned by the Sears Company when they was at their heyday back in the 60s and 70s. Take another good look at this building. Now, going off the top of my head, this building stands, I believe, over 1,400 feet tall, maybe 1,500 feet tall, 110 stories. It has an observation deck on the 102nd floor. I've been in this building plenty of times. Been to a lot of dates. Took a lot of girls inside of this building right here. But that right there is the Sears Tower. As you can see, the observation deck up there. And you can see downtown Chicago. Such a magnificent city. I love it. Originally born in Virginia, but lived pretty much all my life in Chicago. I'm 33 now, and I've been here since 2000, so you can do the math. As we make it out towards the West Loop area, This is the loop area right here. I know a lot of people don't understand when Chicagoans say the loop area, but this is the loop area right here. As we make ourselves towards the west side, or out west, as Chicagoans say it, we're gonna take another look at another famous place, the United Center, where your Chicago Bulls has been playing basketball here, I believe, since the 80s. This is where Michael Jordan won all his championships at. This building is shared with not only the Chicago Bulls, but also the Chicago Blackhawks, our hockey team. Sits over here out west, right off of Madison, as you get a good look at that. Right here we have 290. This is the freeway that runs the west part of Chicago. As we get another look of downtown Chicago from the west side of Chicago. As we come back around, we have a couple more things to look at. We will be making it right back to downtown Chicago. And then after downtown Chicago, we will head towards the south side, take a few things over there, and that'll be pretty much our journey for tonight, or I should say today. As we make our way back towards the lakefront, get a nice look at the city of Chicago. Very breathtaking. Such a breathtaking view. As we make our way over here towards a Lakeshore Drive again, we have another famous thing to look at, and that is Soldier Field. It is where the Chicago Bears play at, hopefully continue to play. If anybody follows football or anything like that, you know that the Chicago Bears are looking for a new home, and it might not be in Chicago. So fingers crossed that the Chicago Bears at least stay in Chicago or the neighboring suburbs where they want to move to. But as we loop around real quick, we can get a nice good look at Soldier Field. Right in front of it, you have the Arts Museum right in front of it. And here you have Soldier Field right here on the lakefront. Such a great and beautiful place to have a football stadium at, right here on the lakefront. But that is where the Chicago Bears play at. This is right here is where they have the Chicago Car Show at. As we make our way towards the south part of the city, we are leaving the loop area and starting to head towards the south side of the city to 35th. And if you don't know what's on 35th and what is right in front of us, this is where the Chicago White Sox play at. We have visited all the sports teams, and this right here is where the Chicago White Sox play at, right here on the south side of Chicago. Not too far from downtown, but a little bit more further than the Cubs, the Bears, and the Bulls. Right here is the Chicago White Sox Stadium, right off of 35th. Take a real nice look at that. U.S. Cellular Field. If I'm not mistaken, the name has changed over recent years. But back then, this is when it was still U.S. Cellular Field, though. Very modern stadium. If I'm not mistaken, the stadium was built in the 80s or 90s. The 2005 World Champs. Yes, a lot of people forget about that. That the White Sox won the championship back in 2005. Not that long ago. It's pretty cool to say that I have seen every Chicago team except the Chicago Bears win a championship, because the last time the Chicago Bears won a championship was in 1984. But all the other teams, I have seen them win a championship in my 33 years of living. As we get one more look at the city skyline from the south part of the city. And as we loop over and start to head further south, I would like to give y'all a general idea of where I live at. Now, anybody that knows me knows that I live on the southeast side of Chicago. And I know a lot of y'all probably saying, what makes southeast side of Chicago southeast side of Chicago? Well, there's a freeway, the Dan Ryan, that runs through the middle of the south side. And you have some people that say everything that is west of the freeway is the south side, and everything that is east of the freeway is the east side. And then you have some people that says everything that is east of State Street, which is a street in Chicago, is considered the east side. And then you have other people that state everything that is east of Cottage Grove is considered the east side. I'd love to have some Chicagoans in the comment section. Let me know, what do you call the east side of Chicago? Where is your boundaries at, where you determine what is the east side of Chicago? Right here we have Washington Park. Not only Washington Park, but this right here is the Hyde Park area. Very luxury, very nice area. Famous people like Barack Obama, Minister Farrakhan, and others lives and has homes in this area of Chicago, the Hyde Park area. As we hear a plane flying past. As we look over here to our left, we have the Chicago Skyway, straight shot to Indiana toll road. But as we fly past, for all my younger ones out there, this right here is O Block, the famous O Block. People like Chief Keef and King Vaughn and others made this neighborhood famous. This right here is the Parkway Gardens, right off of 63rd and King Drive. Give y'all a nice little look at that. This right here is public housing. But this right here is the Woodlawn area, is where O Block sits at, or should I say Parkway Gardens. As you can see, downtown Chicago way out there in the distance. Not too far, but a little ways out there in the distance. Get a nice look at Parkway Gardens right here where my cursor is. As we turn more over here, yes, I live far south. I'm over off of 83rd, so I'm way far south. But not too far south, though. Right here, I believe this right here is 71st. This right here should be 75th. Next one should be 79th. And then after 79th, 83rd. But just to give you a general idea of how far south, or southeast, I should say, that I live. So right here is my neck of the woods. 83rd right here. This right here is literally my neighborhood that I live in. If anybody knows it, that's from the Chicagoland area, they know this area. But yes, this is my area where I live at right here. Right off of 83rd. It's quite crazy seeing my house, because I'm actually looking at my house right now as we speak. But it's quite crazy seeing my house from this game. It's really quite crazy that I can see my house. But yes, this is where I live at. And this gives you a general idea of how far I am from downtown Chicago. Not too far, but not too close. As we swing around. All right, so with all that being shown right there, it is now time to try to land the airplane. We're gonna go and try to land at Midway. Midway is right off of 55th on the south side of Chicago. Pretty much everybody that comes to Chicago goes through O'Hare, but every once in a while, you might be one of the lucky few that goes through Midway, set up O'Hare. As we make our way more south to Midway, we're gonna try to land this puppy real quick. I hope everybody's enjoying the video. This is my first time making a video like this. I know I may mess up on some fun facts, stumble over my words a little bit, but I hope everybody understands. It's all in good fun. And I hope everybody is enjoying their Mother's Day today. This right here is the Dan Ryan that runs through the middle of the south side. This right here is the Inglewood area. I used to live over here in the Inglewood area back in the day. 65th and Stewart. Right there you have the Low Building. If anybody that's from the Chicagoland area, they know what I mean by the Low Building. But that right there is the Low Building. This all right here is the Inglewood area. Now, fun fact, if you ever come to Chicago, I don't think that you will ever miss a flight to Chicago with us having two airports. But no, though. O'Hare is obviously the more busier airport. But Chicago Midway, not too bad of an airport. There's been multiple times that I have took a flight out of Chicago Midway or landed in Chicago Midway. Chicago Midway is in the city limits, so it is technically the only airport that is in the city of Chicago. Like I said earlier, O'Hare is not in the city of Chicago. It's in the neighboring suburbs, Chicagoland area. Now, if my young old eyes can play me right, I think I can line this up and make this there goes Cicero off into the distance. Cicero is more or less considered its own city outside of Chicago. Getting more looks at the overall Chicago area and how massive the city of Chicago is. Another fun fact for you. Population, roughly 2.7 million people. It sits as the third biggest city in America. But slowly going to lose that to Houston, Texas, with them being the third biggest city in America. Slowly creeping up on that number third spot. Statistics say by at least 2030 or 2035, Houston should pass Chicago up as the third biggest city in America. As we swing it around and try to bring this puppy down at Midway. Hope everybody enjoyed this flight. We left out of O'Hare and we'll be landing in Midway International. Now I know I'm a little high, but we're gonna make this work though. Flaps down. And as we're about to land, you can get a good look at the Midway International Airport. As it seems like we're about to cross paths with an airplane. This is not good. Let's go ahead and loop it around real quick. Air traffic control didn't tell me that you was coming out. Let's try to loop around real quick and land on that runway right there. But this right here should give you a better look at the size of Midway. Not too bad of an airport. Has 3 active runways, not too bad. Like I said, not the busiest, but not the smallest. Especially compared to the juggernaut like O'Hare off into the distance. We're gonna bring our flaps up real quick and try to loop it around. As we loop it around, Please, boys and girls, do not try what I do. I am a professional. All right. We're on our final approach. Good thing we have a lot of runway, because we're going to need it. Now let's see if your boy can nail this. Ooh, we're coming in steep, coming in steep. Good thing we have lots of runway. Ooh, we're coming in super steep. But we don't need that much runway. Raise it up just a little bit. Ooh, little jump. Little hop, but we got it. Not too shabby for on a controller. Best believe, boys and girls, the more videos that we make of this, the better I'll get at that. But that right there, boys and girls, is a look at the city of Chicago and what all it has to offer. If you like the video, man, please smash that like button, man. Rate, subscribe, all that good old stuff. Get down there in the comment section, man. Let me know how y'all like it. Give me some ideas on some other places that we will be going to next. Because best believe there's a lot of other places that I'll love to go to in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But it's your boy. I'ma holler at y'all. Godspeed. And until next one, peace.